lives, in our families, and it is a bit absurd, you know. So many of them have been buried innocently, simply because one, maybe they don't know what to do. But this is manageable. So all of us who are here and we want to save our people, or we know our people who are sick, I think this would be a very good one. Mr. Juma, we are good. Okay. We want to welcome everybody who's watching us live today on our YouTube channel. And today we're going to talk about the silent, slow poison from head to toe called which disease? Diabetes. Now, diabetes comes from something called insulin resistance. We have talked about this so many times, and I want to make it clear for everybody. Are we following? I want you to participate with me. Are we following? Yes. Our bodies are made up of cells. So cells, like for example, your mom brings one ovum every month. Every girl gets one egg cell every month. I hope we all have our notebooks. And for us men, when you ejaculate, you're very generous. There are millions of them that you call sperm cells that come out. But of course, like we always motivate people in business that don't lose heart, don't give up on life, because in the race to life, you won the first race, which was a race full of so many would-be sisters and brothers of yours, and you won. So one sperm cell usually comes through with the strongest tail and with a lot of energy, and it fertilizes that egg. So there are two cells coming together, and now you have a combination of two in one. Are we together? Now, of course, that line, sometimes some people, it is very evident, like this. You can see, we can divide you into this side, looks like that side. The heart has the left and the right ventricle. You have the left and the right lungs. You have two. Even men have testes. There are how many? If you have one, we have to pray for you. You get it? Now, of course, some people have that. But then, you form cells, or you come from cells. Cells are the ones that form groups of cells we call tissues. When I'm teaching, I really want to come from first principles so that everybody understands. And then, tissues are the ones, these are groups of cells that form what we call organs, like the heart, like the liver, like the many organs we know. Yes or yes? And then different organs, according to their functions, they form what we call systems. We have, I think, 8 systems: the lymphatic system, the nerve system, the respiratory system, the digestive system, which other one? Circulation system. And diabetes, when you talk about circulatory diseases, this one is one of them. It affects the cardiovascular system, the heart and the muscles, and the blood vessels system, using its sugars. Are we together? Now, different systems form what you call the body. Now, if your body is going to be okay, then your cells have to be healthy. Now, what brings diabetes is something called metabolic dysfunction. I want everybody to read this out for me. It's called what? Everybody shouting it out loud. 1, 2, 3. That is when your cells are not performing well. Are we together? Now, when you eat food, that food will not work in your body until it gets to the unit building block of your body. We call the what? The cell. Tuko pamoja? Ise ndio. Tuko pamoja? Yes. And that food goes through stages. Now, there are 2 things that we want you guys to know. That as you're talking to the patient, or if you're the patient, then you need to know this. There is what we call diet. Everybody says diet. And then there is another we call nutrition. Diet means what you eat. Everything you eat is diet. Now you must watch your diet because it is wiser to have a good diet. Are we together? Now some people have what they claim to be a good diet, but it is bad. Now when you have bad feeding, you are going to give room to non-communicable diseases like the blood pressure instabilities, high and low blood pressure, like the diabetes, like others we call bone problems, things like arthritis, then other autoimmune conditions and diseases, and other very common conditions like the fatty liver. So many people have the fatty liver. That is why they need our liver care. And so many of them don't know about its existence here. They are using so many other pharmaceutical drugs which might work but not as effective as our very wonderfully done liver care. That is why I want to encourage everybody who has a liver to continually use which one? Liver care. Are we together? Now, diet can be good or bad. When you look at your plate, most of us have a bad diet because if that's our plate, most of us eat food in larger quantities, that is the food. And then when you're putting sauce, they don't put as much as they put for the food. So it is not balanced, food and sauce. And most of the sauce we eat is protein-based. Then when it comes to fruits and vegetables, we put very little. Sometimes we don't even eat them. Now this is fruits and veggies, vegetables. Now food gives us energy. Sauce, most of it is protein-based. It gives us what we call the bodybuilding benefits. And then the fruits and vegetables are the protective foods. Now, most of us do one thing. We energize our bodies because we eat food every single day, build them so hard so we are gigantic and mega and we are huge. We don't have plain bones. We have meat and muscle on our bones, but we don't protect them because rarely do we eat the what? The fruits and vegetables in the required amounts. And that has caused us to go into the borderline of getting these non-communicable diseases. Your diet has to be balanced, even on the plate. If that is it, then they have to be in equal amounts. Nga webere kalai, nochekako amabulooka oba ebitofaali webiti, tesobola balansinga. Era yekanga yekubidde side eno. You need to balance. Are we together? So these people are missing. Now, the reason we tell everybody to think about supplementing, it's because sometimes you cannot eat the food in the right amounts as you need it for your body's proper functioning. That is why food supplements are the new normal. Are we together? That in case you cannot have the amount of whole grains you need to provide you with what we call the essential fatty acids to keep your cells clean, then you need to do something called total vitality. You need to use a lot of omega-3s on a daily basis. Are we together? Why? Those of you who are following. Jemuli? This is more important. You switch off that one. Are we together? Nutrition, after you've eaten, what you eat, what your body uses after you've eaten. Now, this nutrition has about 6 stages. Our duster is not here. 6 stages of nutrition that we must mind. Now, if any of them goes wrong, you are going to have one of the many non-communicable diseases. Somebody get me something to help me rub this. Maybe a hanky or a duster or what we have always been using. The ladies are there, they have tissue. Nutrition, the first stage, we'll wait for that person, is called diet. So you should watch what you eat. When you go to that restaurant, you don't just treat your body like a dustbin. Thank you very much. Somebody has got us one here. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you so much. Okay. You don't just eat whatever is served. This is what is normal for most of us. what are you going to eat? The waiter or the waitress comes, and then ogamba bampe mmere yonna. Nti tuinayo olumonde, tuinayo akawunga, tuinayo muwogo, tuinayo ettooke, tuinayo omuceere omweru, tuinayo tuinayo n'akalo, tuinayo n'ensuju, pumpkin. You know what most of you say? Bampe mmere yonna. Ate enva, tuinayo ebijanjaalo, tuinayo ebinyeebwa, teekerako akanyeebwa ontekeko ekijanjaalo. That's what some of you are doing. When I was in school, bagamba mpe nnyama nga mulimu ebijanjaalo. Some of you do that, right? Now, it shows you confusion on the plate, and then you put that entire confusion in your stomach. You get it? And then you really cause confusion in your stomach, and then you catalyze the diseases. Sometimes you have to eat mindfully, because now, what most people struggle with is because their plate is not well monitored. So stage number 1 of nutrition is diet. Watch what you eat. And if you can watch what you eat, that is why the reversal of diabetes comes from stage number 1 of nutrition, diet. So you have to advise your patient on what to eat. It's very important. Now, after you've eaten, usually when you get food from the plate, where do you put it? Answer me, you guys. Where do you put it? In your mouth, so that you can go on to stage number 2, which most people don't think is important, but it is very important, because if it is not well monitored and it has issues, then you're going to have diseases, digestion. And when I was in P4, around P5 there, we used to talk about the body systems. And the first system you're taught in the primary school science is the digestive system. And then they ask questions up to the primary living examinations. What is digestion? And then they will tell you, what is the other name of the digestive system in men? And what was the answer? Who remembers? Alimentary canal. You remember? And then when we came up in school, then we used to know things like the gut. Now they say the other name of the digestive system, it's the, But now, digestion, please pay attention. Those of us who are on our phones, by the way, I'll get your phones. If it's not recording, then I'm going to get it. Because some people are so indisciplined and they are so local that they don't know when to use their gadgets. I really do that. And for everybody watching us live, really, you guys are right to use your phones. But some people here, they are sick, not physically, but also in the mind, because they are using their phones for WhatsApp when they are learning things of health. We don't want that. Sorry, that's cut out. Digestion is the breakdown of food. It starts in your mouth and it ends in the stomach. Are we together? They tell us in nutrition you must chew your food a minimum of 32 times. No one can do that. Now, because nobody does that, usually when the food lands in our stomach, it is still not well mashed, not well broken down. And this is where the food stays in your stomach, those of you who are listening, for the next 2 hours being churned and broken down by the acids and the rough surface of your stomach. For how many hours? 2 hours. That is why we always advise people against eating supper and then you sleep right after eating. Because when you go to sleep, your body switches off almost all systems. And most organs are switched off, apart from the heart, the lungs, maybe those ones. Are we together? But also their functioning goes down, like the speed at which they work, the metabolism goes down. So we always advise you have dinner instead of supper, early dinner, before 8:30, maybe latest 9, and then you sleep after 11. And you don't eat and sit. You have to be physically active, at least for 30 minutes after eating, so that you can help your digestive system break down that food. And the reason most people have what we call the bad breath, it's because they eat and sleep before the food is digested in the stomach fully. So in the morning, because it stayed in the tummy for the entire night, it is rotten. So they just push it to the intestines without helping it break down, because now the body is starting with a new day. So you have a lot of rotting stuff in your intestinal tracts. And that is why even when you use all the mouthwashes, they are not working for you, because it comes from the inside out. And the commonest sign you can know your digestive system is dirty is when you go to that washroom, in the mirror, I want you to stick out your tongue. If you see anything yellow on there, yet you brushed in the morning, your intestinal tract is full of feces in excess of more than 10 kilograms for more than 3 months. And you need a cleanser. That is why we encourage people to come and order the colon detox. The colon detox just makes sure that product is so good. It has over 14 different herbs. How many? It has probiotics, that is live bacteria strains, put in a dormant phase in there, waiting to be activated with a change in temperature in your stomach when you swallow them. That's why we advise that if using colon detox, you take it with lukewarm water, so that the probiotics can be activated. Now, the colon detox helps you have proper stage 2. And what is stage 2 of nutrition? Digestion. We are more than 100 here, and I want you guys to be audible so that everybody on YouTube here can be able to know that you are a bigger class. Stage 2 is called what? Digestion. So if you want to enhance proper digestion, which is key to reversing diabetes, which is our topic today. Diabetes, a slow poison from head to toe. Digestion is very key. Now, after the food is broken down, it is usually pushed to your intestines for stage number 3. The small intestines always are the ones that help us with stage number 3, and that is called absorption. Now the matoke is like porridge. Now the millet is like porridge. Now it is ready to release the nutrients. They push it to the intestines, which are very long. You see, the intestinal tract of a human being is about 20 meters. 20 meters is so long to maximize absorption. Now, if you have mucus in there and you have a lot of waste that is not passed out in the intestinal tract, your absorption is not going to be right. That is why we still encourage a colon detox. And your skin will show it. Pimples, rough, pale, bad breath, sleep patterns poor, yellow eyes, no petroleum jelly, you look pale. You have wrinkles at 23. At 32, you have to explain to us you're still 32. You look like 48. You fat, smelly gas. Now you're in the toilet and your fecal matter is so bad, like that of goats. Pellets. You squeeze your eyes and even get tears. After absorption, now the nutrients enter the blood. So they have to be into stage number 4, circulation. Now the nutrients are in the blood vessels. Now they are ready to be transported. The food has not worked. It is still on stage number 4. So circulation ensures that the food you ate, after the nutrients have been absorbed, are transported to the unit body building block. And what did we call that one in the first place? The cell. So before the food reaches the cell, useless. It is still in process, stage number 4. 2 hours later. And now, if you have issues with your circulation system, then you're sabotaging nutrition, which means what your body uses after you've eaten. That means if your circulation system is having issues. And what are the issues? For example, there is when we have blood vessel damage. There is when we have clots in the blood vessels. There is when the blood pressure is very high. There is when the blood pressure is very low. There is when your heart muscles are not performing well. So you get rapid heartbeats. Sometimes you feel your heart is skipping some beats. All these ones are circulation issues. Even diabetes is a circulatory disease. Because if there is too much blood, let me say it again. If there is too much sugar within your blood, that is called diabetes. Diabetes is a condition that means high blood sugars all day long. And sugar is very dangerous because when it comes to your eyes, it causes the cataracts and the glaucoma. When it is in your brain, too much sugar in your brain, it causes memory loss and dementia. And it starts years at a level of, boss, what did you tell me your name is? 30 years later, they say our grandfather, Mr. Sebuma here, he does not remember our names. No, it started not now. It started when the sugars were so much in the brain and he didn't give a damn to control that. They felt it was normal for them to, Mpozi, what did you say the last figure was on your number? When it is in the bones, it causes bone sickness. So high blood sugars and high body sugars are not good anyway, let me say that. So I want to cut it short. There are 6 stages. I'm stopping at circulation. Anyway, let me do number 5, called assimilation. Because this is where diabetes comes in. Assimilation. Now, assimilation is what they call metabolic functioning. That is how your cells work in a step called assimilation. Like we said, your body is made up of cells. So now the nutrients are absorbed from the blood and then put in the systems of the blood we call blood vessels. And then the heart is pumping the blood with nutrients and oxygen. And these nutrients are coming towards your cell. Let's use 3 arrows here. And these are food nutrients. These cells have a lot of windows around them. And we call these ones insulin receptor sites. Windows are called which name? They are called which name? Insulin receptor sites. Now, because they are insulin receptor sites, these windows require insulin hormone as their key for opening up for the nutrients to enter. So the moment you put anything on your tongue and saliva is produced to help you with digestion, at the same time, in your body, the pancreas produces insulin in preparation for the food you've eaten to enter the cells at a cellular level. The work of insulin hormone is to open the receptor sites on your cells so that nutrients can enter. Every time you eat, insulin must work. But when you overeat, you produce a lot of insulin, which stays excess in the blood for longer hours, causing insulin receptor sites to become resistant to it now. And that is what we call insulin resistance at a cellular level. Now, the insulin resistance at a cellular level means your cell windows will not open when you eat the food. And the body shows symptoms and signs like dozing, lack of sleep at night, skin tags, just to mention but a few, a pot belly. So everybody who has a pot belly, you have rings around your waist. You are insulin resistant. And that means you are in that long queue, you're going to become diabetic. Like it or not. You either watch your 6 stages critically now, starting with diet, or the insulin resistance causes the more diseases it's fond of causing in your body. Because now the sugars will just bounce off and stay in the blood. And when they stay in the blood, they cause high blood sugars. They call that hyperglycemia. And then high blood sugars will now cause you what we call diabetes. It doesn't come in a go, and it is here. It takes years of you getting a pot belly because now you got some little salary increment and now you eat a lot of junk. And you know you love junk. And junk means junk. When you talk about a dustbin, the other name of a dustbin, you can call it a what? A junk bin. So you treat your body like a junk pit. No wonder, because it's a junk bin stroke pit, it stinks because bins stink. That's why you have to apply a lot of lotions and a lot of perfumes so that you don't smell, but the body is communicating. Who is with me? Now, because you have treated your body like a junk bin, you expect all the junk bin diseases to come. When you have a junk bin, there are maggots. And there are flies that come there because it is smelly. Now the maggots and the flies that come in the normal junk bin, let's translate them into symptoms that are going to come, that are going to signify the growth of certain diseases. Who is with me? That is why you need to watch yourself. And you need to start thinking about the reversal before it comes. Now, some of you think you're still young because you have not yet been told you have diabetes. But then you sleep, you want to sleep at midnight, but you end up sleeping at 2. You lack sleep at night and you think it's normal. You doze in taxis in the morning, you think it's normal. You have bad breath after brushing in the morning, bulungi. 40 minutes that I do like this, you do that and you feel it is not healthy. So you have to do PK and chewing gum, which when you put in your mouth, it produces saliva, it causes more insulin production. You're fighting the bad breath by chewing gum, and then you're producing insulin, which causes more insulin resistance, resulting into diabetes and high blood pressure and diseases in the future. And you are just ignorant, you don't know what to do. Ignorance is no defense in the law. And the Bible says, as for Christians, my people perish, God was talking, because they lack knowledge. So among the things to avoid is chewing gum. Among the things to avoid is snacking, eating all the time. You know, you have been designed to eat 3 times, and you think it's normal because they want you to fall sick. You must eat 2 times or once a day. I won't go into that. 2 times. And this is what's up. Are you listening? Yes. Anedda, katisha kane kankendeze dogozi. Bane mumpuliriza. Yes. Abe mabega bonna bantu ndio kutunulizi mwenna njagala mwogere. Bano nno balowooza muli batono, muli bangi. Mwogere, mumpulira. Yes. Kakati, understanding your body's functioning is very key to reversing diabetes. So the number of times you eat matter. At least 2 times. Maximum 2 times. And in between those meals, there has to be about 6 hours without eating anything. Maybe just drinking water. Which water these days, they put a lot of other small minerals. It also causes some insulin production. Our water these days, it's like food, fortified with a lot of I don't know what. The silent poison. A slow poison from head to toe. When you're diagnosed with diabetes, it simply means you have high blood sugars that have gone out of range. Normal blood sugars, 4.8 to 5.6. Anything above 5.8, 5.7 is the borderline high. Means you're crossing is high blood sugars. Some of you having 6, you think you're normal. Now, some of you, because you're 22, you have never even thought about going for a sugar test for your blood. It is not expensive. And then you're waiting for that moment when you feel malaria-ish for 3 weeks, and then you start taking antimalarials, and then they're not working, the fatigue continues happening, the paleness continues going on, and then somehow you land on an angel, you'll call them your angel, because they'll tell you, they'll tell you, banange, you have sugar disease, which they call diabetes. And then you're like, banange, they told me I've just gotten diabetes. It takes years. I always tell people, all of us are diabetic. If most of the days you feel fatigued, bored, when you look like this and you're not talking to anybody, if people see you sad, ndi bulungi nga wino mbiri gwennyamidde guti ng'olina mood swings wenyiizanyiiza because the high insulin always affects other hormones. Ng'olina erectile dysfunction, you are pre-diabetic. Olina ekifu ku maaso, you're pre-diabetic. Brain fog, when you talk about drawing a structure and you take long to understand. When you have problems with focus, you're pre-diabetic. Now you cannot focus for 3 hours or for 30 minutes thinking of, no, 3 hours may be long, but like 10 minutes. Now you cannot settle on one thing. You're so diverted on many things. You don't focus, you're pre-diabetic. Girete wano. Totulisa yangu girete jimpe. Tumukubireko mu ngalo bambi yambadde kiragala. Tumukubireko mu ngalo. Now, it's a poison. The reason your body responds when you have high blood sugars, because the brain, which is the master gland, knows that high blood sugars can cause destruction and damage to all body parts. That's why when you're diabetic, you need to manage your blood sugars and watch them every single day. Even before you're diabetic, every week at least do a test, or every 2 weeks. That machine is like 80,000. You just have to change strips. You prick yourself here. It is not painful. And then you take a blood sample and then you see how much sugars you have in your blood. Now, this is what's funny. This is talking about the fact that most people who are diabetic, they are just watching their blood sugar numbers, and they do not think about the fact that when you remove sugar from the blood by taking metformin and other drugs, it goes in the meat. Now, a time reaches when your cells of the muscles and your fat cells and your liver cells are full of sugar, and you also have sugar in your blood. And now you take the drug and the stores where it was being pushed are full, so the numbers will stay high. And then the doctor is like, we have to change your dosage. And you're always urinating, and now you have kidney disease. I still need more phones here for those of us who don't know. And they are very safe with me here, by the way. Are we together? So instead of managing just the numbers of blood sugar, you also need to think about, that's why biotin is very important. That product called hair, skin, and nails, it's called what? That is just a product name. It has something called biotin, vitamin B7. Biotin for the diabetics is the solution you need. B7 removes the sugars from inside the cells that is not needed there. Anywamu sukali mu nyama. Kati abantu abalina sukali mbawa hair, skin and nails okujjamu sukali mu nyama si musaayi gwokka. And that's why the numbers go down. So if you want your metformin to work better, they need hair, skin and nails, so that it helps remove sugars from the cells or utilize the sugars in the cells to create more space, that as they are removing it from the blood, it goes in the cells. Now there is space for hiding it. Are we together? These are for the sharp ones. Now, diabetes does not start with sugar only. It starts with insulin resistance, which begins years before you are diagnosed with diabetes. That is why some people are showing symptoms of insulin resistance for a long time. They over-urinate at night, they sweat a lot, they have dry lips, they are always thirsty, they have pale skins, they have put on a pot belly, they are obese, they are always fatigued and tired, and then they feel sickish. When they go to the hospital, they run all the tests because the symptoms are being seen, and then the doctors will keep telling them, you don't have diabetes yet. That doesn't mean you don't have diabetes. Stop waiting for the lab results. This morning I made a video and I was telling people that the lab results are just tentative and they come later to give you meaning. Ngoma zokulwala. But before you fall sick, how come whenever I sit in a taxi and I'm not on my phone, I doze? People don't do that. You may start dozing at 18, 21, and some of you doze too much that even you lose your lips control. I grew up with my grandmother ngagamba note chimwa pa leka tumetemenya chimwa muina mimwa. So it begins years of and then sugar in the blood. By the time they get the number they want you to know, Mboina's diabetes mbaliku 8 obaliku 130 nga walwala da. The only challenge people have is that when they are diagnosed with diabetes and they realize it is 15, HbA1c they call it, they want to get healed in 2 weeks. Abombaita basirusiru. Tosobola kuba musirusiru kutuuka kulwala myaka 18 noyagala onere mu nnaku 3. Kati gwanda bangu olina sukaali tosobola kusiriwala kubanga oyagala owone mu nnaku 2. Eddagala terikola. You're wrong. There is some understanding you need to get. Because for so long you had a big tummy and you didn't care. And you didn't even think it was dangerous. And now, because now you have echifukumaso, because now you have burning sensations of the nerve damage, because now you're feeling numb osanyalala, kati oyagala biwone mu nnaku 23. It is wrong. So sugars, that number that scares people. My sugar numbers are high. By the time they are high in the blood, you need to think about what they are in the cells. So, damage happens silently in the background for years. And it keeps damaging and happening. That's why your nerves are struggling, your bones are struggling, your eyes are struggling, your skin is struggling, your hair. Some people are losing hair. Yeah. Other people are getting gray hair because of blood sugars being so high in their bodies. We have something called the body mass index, the BMI, where each one of you should go and get your kilograms. Weight in kilograms. Then you also go and they measure your height. What and what? Weight and what? Height. Then you get your weight in kilograms, divide by your height in meters. If you are above 25, you are going to get diabetes. How many times do you monitor? And when you monitor, then you'll know that I must keep within 70 to 73. Me, my 70 to 73 kgs, according to my height, is very fine, and I've had it for more than 8 years. That's why even with money, you'll never see me with this one. Now, some of you, when you get money, you think it is healthy to walk like this. You even start eating junk so that you put on some weight so that you walk like this. Yenkola nkadde gamba munno eyo nkola nkadde bali abataasoma batugambiranga funafuna ku mubiri abantu bategere nti olina ssente. Twagala obeere kasajja katono ng'oli kasajja kanene mu nsawo, si kutulaga kibiri kyo kijjudde endwadde olowooze nti oli bulungi. Ogenda beera mu layini y'eddwaliro newankubadde olina abakozi, and you won't enjoy your money because you don't sleep at night. You have burning feet, osobola otunula. So don't. It's a slow poison. I hope I'm making sense for you. Am I making sense? Yes. Diabetes is a slow poison that quietly affects the human body from the head to the toe, often long before the lab reports show that it is very high. Because many lab reports say zagala. So zagala ekintu kiri kimu. The lab reports, when you go to the lab, the doctors want one thing. They wait for that moment. Ng'olwadde tonalwala, you still fine. There you go. You go walking. You go with your burning feet, they tell you don't have diabetes. Then you come back again. And then 9 months later, where you would have started the response program 9 months ago, you waited for them. Hey, kati naiseho ali ku 7. Oh, ina sukari. And some of them are rushing to get you on drugs. You know, wellness is the new normal. Before you do drugs, which are not bad, it's better you start with lifestyle change. You look at the 6 stages of nutrition and see if they're being done right. You see, to some people, when they use colon detox and they clean their digestive system, sukari akendera. Other people, when they use omega-3 and they clean their blood vessels, sometimes the sugar levels go normal. To others, when they use the total vitality and the colon detox and the liver care and omega-3, this one changes. And so they're fine. That's why the combination is there. It sorts the 6 stages, nothing else. Those of you are just giving ignorantly. First, what do we give somebody who is diabetic and you cram? Everybody touch this one. You see, twaina tamale mirundi yafa nnyo kagamba ng'alabira ddala bannayuganda tebasoma. Mwebale kusoma, mwekubireko mu ngalo. Kati mwebale kusoma kwa kati manyi musoma. Temusoma? Mwekubireko mu ngalo. Kakati damage ki ezigenda maaso ng'olina diabetes? Lala kimbuyita butwa. Most people don't realize that diabetes can affect, 1, the brain. Diabetes affects the brain. It brings brain fog. So if somebody tells you, I have brain fog, sometimes I don't see things clearly, I don't think things right, sirowooza bulungi. Olina sukari. Nagenze bange bene nga sina sukari. Olina sukari. Number 2, when you start getting memory problems even at 19 years, you're pre-diabetic on your way to diabetes. Pozi sente zo twazibaze zabadde mmeka? Ninako, ekyapa kyange nakiterekawa. Pozi luli wangamba bwe wajja wangamba osulawa? Memory problems. You're diabetic. Not only that, those of you, men and women and boys and girls who get mood swings, today you're extremely happy and you want everybody to be happy with you. Then tomorrow you are very sad and you're always annoyed. We don't understand you. You're having mood swings. You are diabetic. This sukari is affecting your brain. Chobalaba omuntu alina sukari bamanyi okwenyiiza n'anyiigira ddala n'oga jjajja kye kimunyiiziza. So, this one brings you to what we call the dementia. You know dementia, when my late grandmother passed, she got dementia. And it was very sad. You know when you have dementia, you kind of forget everything. You even forget to dress yourself and you think you're dressed. You cannot control when to laugh and when to be annoyed. you're just off. The brain is not part of your body anymore. We have to help you. And then it comes back and it goes away. You know, diabetes is very evil. It's a poison indeed. So it affects your brain, and most people don't know that. It affects your sleep. Look at that. Sleep. But you know to be poor sleep. Let me finish very fast. If you're always waking up at night, even when somebody touches the door like this, you wake up. Diabetic. Me, I'm 23. Diabetic. Restless nights. You know when somebody is restless, they turn, they cannot settle. Sleep patterns. When you don't sleep, let me tell you about the importance of sleep. That's why when somebody is diabetic, we give them the muscle bone care because it has magnesium. Magnesium helps calm down your brain and your nervous system. If you don't sleep, you're building business. You are going to wake up in the morning and you will not know where your body generated sugars from. And that is going to cause you more diseases. That is why you have to work, but you must prioritize sleep. Because poor sleep causes diabetes. Oh, it causes insulin resistance, which lays ground for all diseases. Akati gwabadde yefuula nti nno toyagala kwebaka, osula ku TikTok. Mukama akutukuumire, tujja kulinda mu kalayini. Now, diabetes affects your sleep. It affects your ears. Katokyawulira. There is what we call the tinnitus. Those people abalina amatu nga galimu ekiwawaala, some sounds in the ears, buzzing, and some tingling sounds like bells in your ears. Kijanga gamba, pulira obuntu obunkaabira mu matu, sukaali. Naye bakebedde tirina sukaali, olimba. Bakulinze wali nga akugonzeza balyoke bagambe nti omulina kati zukuka kati. Jangu tukujjanjabe. Now, dizziness. Mmanyi okubeera dizzy. Kamunguluze. N'owungamu wakati ni sekendi ng'emu. Nolowooza enjala yeekuluma. N'oyayuuya awo oti, then you yawn and you black out a bit. And then you have to do your eyes like this. So people be like, azukse. Naye ng'obadde otambula. What a bit. And those of you who have balance problems. Have you seen people have balance problems? You know the ear has the balancer. The balancing of you standing is controlled by a part of the ear called what? Anajjukira science oyo. Kisinzira gye wasomera. Bakayita batya ako ke twakubanga kafaana we kati. Kati obajjukiza. Kafaananga we kati. Akamanya yogere. Kale ko. Ani? Thank you very much. Clear. What about Kochilia? You know, when you went to, as my friend called Chiriocha Secondary School, and then I'm not trying to go against them. As long as you have the right spelling for your name to mark you, isn't it? And Kochilia. So clear. So balance problems. It has cardio na rumba yo. You know, diabetes and sugars are very bad. That's why when there is high blood sugars as the first symptom, the brain senses, it responds by telling the pancreas to reduce that sugar as fast as yesterday by converting it to fats. That is why some of you get the pot belly, because now the visceral fats are stored here from the sugars, and now you have sugar in form of fats. And then if you do not fast to stop the intake of more sugars, so that you can now use the stored sugars in fats you draw next to your grave. Years before the angels of death come, you call them. And you're always there on their door knocking, please come and take me. Why? You want eating and you love eating so much. That's why the fasting period right now, if you're not yet sick, every 2 weeks you get 1 day of dry fast. You don't eat anything. You reduce the number of times you eat in a day. Breakfast as the major meal of the day. Never miss it. Not early in the morning, around 10, 11. It's the best meal of the day. Eat it to the fullness. Then 5 hours later, 6 hours later, have the second major meal. Lunch, light. Don't do supper. And then some people will be like, if you're always getting hungry, you are diabetic. Oba muchigane. Symptom ya pre-diabetes endala. Enjala okuluma. Nga bukisero yagala okulya. You know diabetes is very funny. When you have high blood sugars and too much sugars in your cells and etc., they really want you to eat more of them so that you get more of them so that you fall sick fast. That is why people who are fat, have you realized that fat people love eating too much? Why? They're already fat. It's the body malfunctioning. That's why when we started, we talked about metabolic dysfunction. I wrote it here and I rubbed it. You remember? The body has started getting confused with itself because you are confusing it. So why do we encourage fasting? It's because when you fast, the body stops the confusion you put it into. And then it remembers its normal cycle. And then the normal cycle, it will start detoxifying itself, fighting most diseases you don't know about. But every time you junk snack, can I say that again? Magala nnyo kulya junk mu snacks zammwe ze mulya. Omubiri oyongera kuguleetera confusion. So diabetes is a confusion disease. It's for the confused people who confuse their people, their bodies. And now they have to wait for someone, Mulindwa, please help me understand my body. Can you help my body understand me too? And then I tell you, you need this one, you need this one, you need this one, so that your body can get to be in line with you. You need to change your eating, you need to reduce the number of times you eat, you need to eat in this time, and give me this money. First clap for me because that... you give me your money so that I get you out of your confusion. So it affects your ears as well. Not only that, diabetes affects your eyes. Kati abalina night vision problem antolaba kiro. There's what you call cataract. Nga tolaba bulungi. You know they give you a document and you look at it, you see 3 letters for every letter. And then you first close your eyes a bit, and then you draw it closer. You reach a point, like there is an old man who was reading like from here. When you're over concentrating on reading, this is what happens about. Name more boy no jifunya. Eyes. The heart, omutima. Chubolaba. Diabetes is a cardiovascular disease. It affects the heart as well. The heart. Diabetes is a silent heart attack causer. High blood sugars and high sugars in your body can cause you to have a heart attack. Why? When you have high blood sugars, they deplete your magnesium levels, they imbalance your potassium and calcium and sodium and these essential minerals and zinc. And then your heart muscles are struggling. That is why one of the products we give them is muscle bone care. Because diabetes affects the heart. That's why somebody starts as a diabetic, they later get heart diseases. There are many. There are very many heart diseases. Weak heart muscle. And sudden events without warning. Like pain, sharp pain in the chest, heaviness in the chest. Palpitations. You know, diabetes is not good. It also affects your blood vessels and the veins. I have my friend who is struggling with the veins. You see, the arteries, for them, they are clean, like this. So they carry blood from the heart. So when the heart pumps, through the arteries. And as the pressure is going of the blood, and it is starting to slow, another force comes. So there is new pressure coming in all the time from the heart. So it contains and maintains the blood pressure. So the heart has to maintain the blood pressure by pumping normally. Are we together? So when you have abnormal heartbeat, pressure of the blood lowers and destabilizes a bit. Are we together? Now, the arteries are very clear. But then, when you have high sugars in your diet, where ng'olya nnyo refined carbohydrates, michere, simanya, engano, you guys eat a lot of wheat. Refined carbohydrates, and you also take a lot of sugary drinks. They cause, you know, these things, refined carbohydrates are refined, so they remove fiber in them. So when it comes to digestion, they don't take 2 hours here. The moment you eat them, they end up in the intestines, into the blood. That's why when you eat these refined carbohydrates, the sugar levels in the blood spike in no minutes. That's why we tell you, no. Don't eat refined. Eat whole carbs. Because when you eat whole carbs, they have fiber. And fiber will take some time in the digestive system, and it's going to be released in bits for absorption. So the sugars will rise, but not steep. Gradually, as they are being utilized by the cells, they won't affect you. Never will refine. They overwhelm the body. Before you know it, you have too much blood sugars after eating. Kwanyodeka soda. That is why abaina sukali muchimanyi. Boboli hypoglycemic na sukali ya se. Bagamba nnyo mangu soda awo. Chiche chikulaga nti soda mubi. Akozingirawo sukali okwambuka mu musaayi. Kati goba toyina hypo oba omwagaza ki? Wamunya obuchwa meka of sodas per week? I don't know. Because you treat your bodies like junk bins. Problems. Are you learning? So, how does the high blood sugars affect the vessels? You see, diabetes brings high blood pressure. How? Zino arteries zibera clean, and the blood flows in there. But then when you have a lot of sugars in your diet, they come and stay in the blood, especially with insulin resistance at a cellular level. Am I adding notes for you? Now, when you have insulin resistance, you're going to have that sugar stay in the blood, and then when the sugar stays in the blood, high blood sugars damage the arteries. So, sugar crystals in your blood, for the best picture, are very sharp. You know crystals are sharp, yes or yes? Absorbed, it can form crystals there when it is there. And then the crystals will start cutting the arterial walls, and then there is damage on the arteries. And that can cause blood to ooze out, oozing. Now, before the blood does the oozing thing, to fall in cavities where it is not needed, it has to be in the vessels. The body forms clots. The body forms what? A clot. The body forms them in good faith to repair the damage in the arteries. And it is supposed to dissolve them after the plastering and the repairing is done a few hours later. But with high blood insulin, the dissolution is impossible after formation. Did that make sense? So you form clots that you don't dissolve because you're hyperinsulinemic. And now, the high blood insulin causing clots formation, and it is not really, now the vessels in the arteries will start becoming narrow because you're going to form fats in there that are going to make those blood vessels narrower, and the pressure will start going away. Yeah? That's why I said diabetes affects the heart and the blood vessels. Then the veins. For the veins, they are like this. You know, the blood is pumped using artery, it goes down there. On the way back, it's an uphill climb. An uphill climb. And now, the vessels, we call the blood or the veins, for them, they are not as arteries which are clean like this. For them, they have what we call valves, like that. Kati ebyasoma history bigamba oba bw'ayogerako. Kati naye kati engeri gye muli wano eno mujja biyiga kuba mwenna muyina emirimu history tusoma musome. Kati veins zino zirimu mwekubireko mu ngalo. Nedda ssebo mwekubireko mu ngalo. History tumwetaaga kati tulina omumanya Uganda yafuna independence on 9th October which year? Naye nga mwagifuna. I'm joking. Anyway, now as the blood is coming up, kati eno wabere bakuba omusaayi pressure ne jekendeera kati jepika guno ne gubanga, so it is, you understand? So on the way back webakuwe batta nga guno wano weggula nga guyingira muno, kati pressure bwe guba guzzeeyo heartbeat eya wansi guba gwagala kukomawo nga wano weggala. Kati webakuba guno ne gukuba guno ne weggula nga guno gusindika guno nga gudda wano, and there is no backflow. You understand? Now when you have diabetes, these valves here become weak and they don't close, so they cause backflow. People get swollen feet. And then you have to use a lot of omega-3, you have to use a lot of muscle bone care, and you have to use a lot of liver care. And your things don't work. Shut up. You are indisciplined for a long time. Use resveratrol. 6 months. Or else, let's leave you to go with your DVT and vein diseases and edema. Otherwise, we can reverse that if you allow us to. Are we making sense? Yes. So blood vessels and the veins get affected. This is what we call the varicose veins. Emisuwanga gizimbye. Kasitola omusuwanga guzimbye gulimu ebisavusavu. It's dangerous. You can have a heart attack. Some people have those veins on their legs and they think it's normal. Your heart is here. Your second heart is these calves. Where is the second heart? Everybody touch the second heart. May I touch mine? So, who have started burning here, your heart, diabetes is affecting your heart, the second one. Kati abayina emisuwa eminene varicose veins, brother, sister, death is sneaking, it is coming. You have to be scared. It is coming. You know, when we were in primary school, we used to watch cartoons. Sometimes I watch cartoons with my boys. And then you watch that the devil is always having long nails and is black. You get it? And he's a shadow, isn't it? So the shadow of death is coming. It's watching your movement. You have to be careful. You're like, brother, I'm seeing you. You don't want to die. I'm still here. Otherwise, so many of our parents and our people have been buried because of Muluganda tugamba Yesu liddeyo gwenna gamba. Negligent. Let's finish. Leg heaviness. There's too much blood which is not going back up. How are you going to have light legs? The blood vessels put it down there and it's not able to come back at the pace supposed to come back. Your legs will become heavy. You walk a little bit, wano nawali n'otambula katini n'otula ebigere ne bizimba kuba emisuwa mirwadde. swelling. These are things which are normal. Poor circulation, just pay attention, you get the one. Sugars affect your liver. Abanywa omwenge, n'abanywa soda, n'abanywa sukali omungi, n'abalya engano, n'abalya omuceere, n'abateeka sukali mu caayi, ogenda funa fatty liver. Ekyokubiri, ogenda funa high triglycerides. You know, tulina kye tuyita cholesterol. They are not bad. So it's what they call total cholesterol. It's a combination of 3 types of fats. The good fat, what you nicknamed the bad fat, and these ones. Kati tulina good cholesterol, HDL. Obutofaali bw'obuneeno twabwogeddeko. Bwetaaga HDL okubanga insulin abuggulawo. So you need cholesterol. And those of you who have high blood pressure and you're using cholesterol reducing drugs, they call them statin. Statin. Blah, 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 statin. You're going to have more insulin resistance. So not for now. When you come, we shall talk. This is the fuel that helps the fats move in the body. But when it is also fat. It's called fat cells. When they are high, because of too much sugars, problems, high blood pressure, binge. When the liver is affected, when you do a fasting blood sugar in the morning, you're going to have high morning sugars. Even before you eat, your sugar levels in the blood will be high. The same thing happens when you don't sleep well. We shall wait for you in the corridors. Muscles. You see, when you have issues with the sleeping and the liver, ozuka we know in the eye bags, ebinene ozimbi ebi, so we know zimbi face, you're working. Muscles zigenda be affected. Ogenda bo ina constant fatigue, ogenda bo ina constant weakness. You're going to age faster. Winange embugubugu zigudde. They look at you there, muze chichi. Nga you're 45, but you look like, I don't know. You know muscles affected by diabetes, you either, or you keneka. Some people are like HIV positive because they are diabetes. The joints get affected. You see from the head to the toe. Diabetes affects your joints. No, you have frozen shoulder. Then not only the frozen shoulder, you get stiffness of the joints. Not only that, the knees and the back pain. And those ones are ignored signs of diabetes, by the way. Omugongo gunnuma, amagumba gannuma. Nedda nze wangambe sirina sukaali. Olina sukaali. Lwaki gakuluma amagumba? Abantu tebamanyi nti amagumba okuluma ne joints. They are symptoms of what? Diabetes. Mukirabye nti abantu abasinga balina sukaali ababonyabonya. Tola kati sukaali gwena okulwanako. Urination, okufuka ati abudde bunyoga kyola anfuka kwa nnyo olimba. Okufuka ennyo, especially at night, is an early warning sign many people miss. Why would you interrupt your sleep in the night to wake up just to pee if you are normal? And then you pee 3 times. Your kidneys and sigo. Now these ones go through silent damage for many, many, many years. And even when you're diabetic, you can stay diabetic on drugs and they still hoodwink you. You know hoodwinking? Okusiba akakokolo. Bwensigo zote zirina buzibu. Wobeera diabetic ensigo ziba n'obuzibu. Kasita wanna ekizibu ekya blood vessel. Ng'olina high blood pressure. Manya low blood pressure. Simanya bagambye olina atherosclerosis emiswagi mirwadde. Olina kidney problem. Kubanga kidney ekolagana ne blood vessels. Zezireeta omusaayi to the kidneys for the cleaning to be done. Your phone, I cannot step it. Even I step it, I can buy it. So don't worry. You're so worried. Are you making notes? Sinalaba wawandi wogenda kujjeko essimu balagenda zikusaba notes za. Awujja kuntegeera yenze mulindwa. They are waited for. And I love supporting people. The very good way. Kidneys. Kati wana basigaye bakaabira ennaku. Read these two for me. Shout and read them for me. So that these ones on YouTube can know that temuli mweka. These ones on YouTube. Ebawulidde bagambye nerves and feet. You know nerves, electric system y'omubiri, feeling. Kati mwa abasajja abagamba nze sina feeling ne wonkwatako sikyalina nyonyogezi. Nze ne wonyonyogera sina. Mwemanyi tugenda kati sikyo. Yeah, you touch anywhere, you're nothing. Hallelujah. When we get nerve damage because of high blood sugars and high sugars in your body, some of the symptoms you get is tingling, obuyisoyiso, obusolosozo obukutambula. Tufuna nerve damage, otandika okusanyalala, numbness, nga webaka side nesanyalala, n'otuula n'owulya ng'oggulu kulinga okusanyaladde tokyakuwulya, n'ositama ku ttooyi, ogenda osituka, togenda situka. You make noise and people are thinking, what is happening inside there? And you're just there. You stand up after you've done your poo, and then you hold the walls like this. You cannot walk. No gamba. And then you're still comfortable with it. Toyogera opacity. Kastova yongo tell them. You know some of you be like, when you wake up, your fingers are numb. And then you do like this, they clear. I will knock bao mako mramba. Katoyogete. Am I making sense? If I'm making sense, first clap for yourselves. No kubawo mwako omulala ngochi wagamba ignore. Osekera. Nti neka unawoka bonero. The body is telling you. Neka unawoka bonero gamba ignore. Ngagamba akakabuse. Neka unawoka bonero ignore. Omugongo kuluma ignore. Amaso gazeke ignore. Brain fog ignore. You're pressing ignore for too long, bro. Ekivamu ku ignore. You wait. Ulcers. You guys know ulcers for the stomach only? Let me explain. When you have a lot of sugars in your diet, ng'olya nnyo ebintu ebya sukali, you are going to cause insulin resistance. When you cause insulin resistance, the sugars will stop entering your cells. They stay where? In the blood. When you have high blood sugars, they are going to damage your blood vessels. We talked about that. And so clots are going to be formed. Are we together? When the clots get formed, switch off that phone. When the clots get formed, circulation becomes a what? Problem. Am I making sense? Circulation has become a problem. Ooh. Now the blood goes to the feet. And the blood vessels are not healthy. Coming back becomes a what? So you get edema. Ebigere okuzimba. Gatebika. And you have to raise them like this so that the blood flows with gravity back to the heart. Do you now realize what they're trying to do? Doctor tells you, when you sit down, put your legs on the sofa like this. Because you now cannot support yourself. Your heart is weak, your blood vessels are sick. Now you have to rely on gravity free fall. Gogolo. Back to the heart. You understand? Let's first clap for these people. They are wise. Some of these things are now, kakati, when you have poor blood flow, and your nerves are damaged because of blood sugars, they can no longer make sensitive communication to the brain that there is pain here. They are insensitive. You're going to get an ulcer. It's a wound. And then that wound is not healing because the oxygen supply is not affected well because the blood is not moving bulungi. So you get ulcers in your feet. Diabetes. Kati abalina amawanga ofuna akabwate kawona kalwawo ne kaba kali mu private part tandika okweraliikirira. Kyekituviiramu okukola kye bayitaani amputations ne tutemako ta. We relieve you of the smelly ulcer wounds. At one point I was in Somalia with my friend. Those guys eat a lot of sugar, by the way. For them, where you put salt in sauce, they put what? They put sugar. They even have dishes which are so full of sugar. Sugar. They eat food, it is full of sugar, like the Filipinos also. They are so diabetic that they have all the symptoms of erectile dysfunction and rotting feet. Ugandans are trying to copy. Indeed, we are copying fast. So, we also have hormonal imbalances with diabetes. Those of you struggling with PCOS, with fibroids, with cysts, mind your sugar intake. That's why, periods zange zinuma, bichi, naye buli kumacho ncheka chai musukali. Wasukali mchai, what's that? That one. First reduce the sugar intake and see if your hormones will balance. Otherwise, diabetes has another one. It destabilizes your sexual health and hormones. That is why abasajja abamu tebakyayima n'abakazi abamu tebakyalina feelings ababba baabwe. It's the word. Ani tamanyi kye kitegeeza kuyima? Nsabikeko tebakyasituka. Mbadde njagala mukitegeere mwekubireko mu ngalo. Ate tebakyasituka. Waliwo abaana abato abadde bagenda okugamba ate okusituka okubawo. Irregular periods, erectile dysfunction, all these are symptoms of pre-diabetes. So those of you who are going back, bansalemu fibroids nezikomao, ate infertility, ate my periods. Start with the diet, what you eat, then clean your digestive system, then work on your absorption, clean your blood vessels, let the body see if it will not kill that thing away. Let us stabilize the 6 stages. Even the last one, which is called elimination, stage 6. Nga elimination ogikozeeko nga toli constipated nga bwe kituuka mu ggenda eri okwe-eliminatinga mu exhaust pipe ng'oli fine ati mugende bibikeko. Ne kati abamu you go to the exhaust pipe, you knock it, it is locked. You close your eyes, you do everything, pellets. Kati mbuli ono erectile dysfunction nga n'okufuluma tofuluma. That's why colon cleansing is the most important. And colon detox is here. Let's finish. So the biggest cause of infertility is sugars. The solution is this one. Basically this. This is the solution. Lwaki mbankuwa hair, skin and nails. When the sugars are high in the blood and you take your drugs, they are put in the cells, the liver cells, the muscle cells, and the fat cells. When the fat cells and the liver cells are full, now you have a fatty liver, you have inflamed liver, you have all these conditions. Now the sugars are always not coming out of the blood. Ngaba kwongera dozi, okanya kufuka, okanya kuzimba. We get you hair, skin and nails. It has biotin. Your hair, skin and nails, erimu 27 key ingredients. They don't only support a healthier skin, hair and nails, which are the signs that the body uses to show you are metabolically fine. When your skin is struggling, or in a metabolic dysfunction, ne bonegera ne bakufumba ne bakola biki soko je tusuke tukebere sukali tumuje mu musaayi ne mu nyama. Abantu abasinga they do plastic surgery. You know, they do plastic makeup. They put like 6 layers. Ladies, sina chenimba. You go, they first of all scrub, then it's cleansing. No, they do like this. They cleanse, they scrub, they tone, then now they start putting layers. I know these things, I've done them. So the hair, skin, and nails. Skin is the biggest organ, eraga. Mwabaina pimples bichi, tubuulire ku sukaali wo waayimiridde. Oba tomanyi jangu nkuyambe nti ezo embalabe zikulaga nti olinaani sukaali. Kyekibuto kiraga nti olina ki? That's why we give you trim tone enhancer. Trimming as you tone your body. Now this one, basically, you know, trim tone just does one thing. Trim tone stops you from eating too much. It cuts this one. And it has fiber that enhances this one. And it has others that enhance the absorption, the psyllium husks. Then it has the dandelions and the rest of them that work on the circulation. Kakati, if this is a circulation disease, and now when you have less of this, this will be okay because you're not eating too much. So this production of insulin is managed. So you'll have insulin sensitivity back. That's why it's the most important product for the diabetics, but it doesn't come alone. You give it alongside total vitality for digestion and all those things. And then the liver care, because the liver is another very important organ when it comes to the metabolism, body functioning. That's why liver care is one of those very good ones. They missed one product here called resveratrol. So you give this 6 products, they are. Person is supposed to be on the minimum 90 days. Minimum. Means after 90 days, we whatever you say, it's minimum. Tulina okugenda maaso. Ne bwe guba mwaka gumu ogw'okukozesa mega doses, 1 year of mega doses to save you from 30 years of always having to swallow the morning pill and do all these things. It is worth it. So me, I always laugh at the patients that are impatient, yet they are patients. You know, the reason they call you patient, you must be patient. You're patient, be patient. Then you are a patient, you don't want to be patient. If you're not patient, yet this disease patiently ate you in silence. Nga tomanyi, wade bwakulya totegeera. Kale bwe toyagala bugumiikiriza bugoba. Butambudde kilomita 40. It has moved 40 kilometers. You want to move only 1 kilometer and you tell the rest, 39 kilometers, sort yourself, go out, me, I'll stop here, I'm taking that. Who is making sense of what I'm trying to say? That's out. Very out. Kakati, buli kiisi nga oli munene. Buli kiisi nga olina olubuto. Buli muntu yenna ng'alina ekifu ku maaso. Nibyenjogeddeko byonna bibadde bingi. These are some of the products you need. We can talk and talk and talk. But metabolic dysfunctioning is causing a lot of sickness. Diabetes is a killer. One of the silent killers that is affecting the young generation and the elder people now. The diabetes you have at 38, you got it when you were 9. These days, your children, you feed them with ice cream. You give them cookies. You give them cakes. You give them soda when they are still young. They become insulin resistant at 8 years. That's why they are fat. Mbusente. You know, they eat all these things and they don't even exercise. I was telling my son this morning as I was driving him to school. He's in P7. I told him, you know what, Greg, as we used to walk, it was around 6. No, it was around 5:45. And today they told him to report early. So I'm like, I'm dropping you and then I go. And then he's like, you really leave late. I told him, as in my P7, as we used to walk, kilometers. I told him we used to walk, not 2 kilometers, like 4. He said, how are you handling that? You know, it was drizzling. And I told him, you see this rain? As we walked in this rain, And then I was telling him, your grandfather had to put a raincoat on me. And then he says, reach well, my son. He cannot go with me every day. He has other things to do. So you don't even need a raincoat. There is a car, you just need a sweater. And I was not trying to mulagana kuya feneda. I was trying to show him. And I'm trying to show you that life has changed. The kids of those days walked. The kids of these days are driven to and from school, and they sit in classes. They are literally served breakfast in classes. And they are not active at all. And when they come home, TV remotes, you know all these things, their legs are on top of the table. They are seated for kulinya mu ntebe biseere binne bakusanga ng'olinnye mu ntebe. Baliwo abamillennials nga nze. Ozirinya mugo wazikula. Nakusanga ng'olinnye mu ntebe. Yode bamanyi n'ozibikako obutimba sizituulamu z'abaki? Z'abagenyi. Waliwo agambye twajjirwa abagenyi nedda. Thank you so much for being a wonderful class. I will stop here. God bless you. Let's welcome back our MC to come and help us close today. Thank you very much. Let's clap for the MC as he comes here. Thank you very much.
Wow, have we learned something? Have we learned something? Very said to be right. Let's clap for our friend. Let's clap for him. Thank you so much. Let's go for our next presentation. Thank you.